Trending here in Lagos, where many houses and businesses across the state have been submerged following torrential rainfall on Tuesday. Floodwaters swept through major areas, including Mile 2, Lekki Phase 1, the Lekki Expressway, 3rd Mainland Bridge, Ago Palace Way, and Sangotedo, forcing commuters to abandon their vehicles and walk long distances. Videos circulating on social media show cars and motorcycles struggling through waterlogged streets, with some luxury vehicles completely submerged in knee-deep floodwater. Let's take a look.
So the covered bridge, 23rd of September. Look at it. Water can no longer go out. Look at it. Look at it. See the water covered everywhere.
Now, this was so scary. In Lekki, even supermarkets were flooded. A now viral video posted by a content creator showed the moment she made her way through a flooded supermarket with water up to her ankles. Let's take a look.
Who said Africa doesn't have water? Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, ma'am.
So we are outside. We are live from Lekki, and this is our life.
Yeah, the big boys life in Lekki.
The big boys' life in Lekki.
Lekki.
This is us just going to the supermarket to buy drink. Even inside supermarket, there's water. This is crazy. Good evening. Oma, what is this? Hello.
Oh, the struggle. The suffer is real.
Well, in response, the Lagos State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, extended his sympathy to all affected residents, acknowledging the city's natural vulnerability as a coastal area. In a post on X, he highlighted the government's ongoing investments in drainage infrastructure, citing illegal construction on floodplains and refuse dumping as contributing factors to the floods. And I'll read his post on X in part. He wrote, "Around House of Rock Church, the flooding was linked to infractions we highlighted earlier: illegal construction on floodplains and dumping of refuse in drains. These kinds of activities worsen flooding and must stop. We appeal for understanding and continued cooperation from the public, keeping our environment clean, refraining from dumping refuse into drains, and avoiding construction on floodplains are vital to achieving a flood-free Lagos." In several of the videos shared yesterday, clear infractions were observed, and Lagos State government will ensure that such illegal structures and obstructions are promptly removed. We also wish to assure residents that the flooding was a flash flood in some parts of the state and has since receded this morning. The ministry remains committed to strengthening our flood management systems, but this effort requires the support and responsible actions of all Lagosians. Together, we can build a safer, cleaner, and more resilient Lagos. Well, Dr. Abati, I'll come to you. We are here in Lagos, and most of us did experience that flash flooding in Lagos on Tuesday. The Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, is saying that it's, we all have to come together to help, clear our drainage systems. And of course, he blamed, illegal construction, especially in that Lekki area. What are your thoughts on the stories so far?
Well, there's this video I just want you to look at. Take a look at. Listen to this video. So touching. And yes, so touching. And I don't know. Anyways, viewers' discretion is advisable. So take your time, watch the video. We'll come back and talk about it. Then we'll look at the reasons why this is still happening today in our country. All these are what we have been talking about. Do you understand? So I don't know. Anyways, let's watch and come back. We're talking about Lagos State fraud here, there. Today we're still talking about fraud in Lagos, in Nigeria. Yes, it's everywhere. Anyways, but there are differences. Yeah, no, that's what people will say. Global change, the difference is there. The difference is clear. We see what is happening across other countries. But hey, let's go and watch the video. But hey, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'll be your guy now.
Okay, two things. Now, Commissioner Wahab has said this is floodplain. Apart from Commissioner Tokunbo Wahab describing it as flash floods, that's the phrase that he used. You also see that climate change is one of the subjects, recurrent subjects at the ongoing United Nations General Assembly. Vice President Kashim Shettima referred to it. The President of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, who is projecting himself as a champion for climate change, climate action in Africa, also talked about it. In other words, the entire world is facing an existential challenge in terms of climate change. And it's not only in Nigeria. We have had flash floods, even worse than what happened in Lagos, in Central Europe, in Japan, in other parts of the world this year. In fact, Spain, a section of Spain was almost submerged in water. So we share that tragedy with other parts of the world. But whereas, you may say, other countries are making concerted efforts, even in spite of the hypocrisy of the international community with regard to climate action, what are we doing here in Nigeria beyond the rhetoric? Now, Commissioner Wahab also tried to answer that question by reacting to the specific examples that you have shown. He said, for example, that in a place called Kushenla, somewhere around Lake area, he says the problem is technical because the downstream end of the flow of the water is 1.2 meters higher. So that area is, naturally going to be submerged. And then in another part, around House on the Rock and all of that, he said the problem is that people are reclaiming land, people are building on drainages, people are, are violating the floodplains. Now, the way the Lagos State government has responded to this is to demolish what they call illegal structures. And they keep threatening that they will continue to demolish illegal structures. However, the problem here is that the problem has become perennial. Anytime it rains in Lagos, no matter the volume of the rain, the whole town shuts down. The whole city shuts down. People left their offices around 1 p.m. on that Tuesday. They didn't get home until 2 a.m. Now calculate the cost in terms of man-hours lost, the pain for people, and then the fact that houses became floating seas. And in fact, you could have paddled a canoe on certain parts of Lagos. But it's an essential problem, and there must continue to be concerted action. NIMET warned that there will be rains, non-stop, rainfall, non-stop, in about 6 or so states for about 4 days. Now, tragedy occurs, problem occurs. Who is going to compensate the people who lost their vehicles? Who is going to repair the vehicles? The only part of it that I'm uneasy about is the attempt to politicize it by Gbadebo Roosevelt, the Labour Party chieftain, who was saying, the APC has failed. They've been doing it for 20 years. And it's because they have failed that you are suffering in this manner. No, climate change is not about, politics at that level.
All right.
But the public will have to be continuously educated. We are all involved, whether you're a gubernatorial candidate or you are a traditional ruler.
Yeah, we shouldn't be playing politics at this time. I'll come to you. People living in Lekki are blaming the construction of the Lagos Coastal Highway project, saying that, the construction lacked proper drainage system. But last month, we saw that the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, had dismissed social media reports alleging a lack of drainage system on the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. He said that the Coastal Highway project included 750 kilometers of dual underground drainage system. I mean, this is the conversation for the residents in Lekki, especially saying that since the construction began, we have experienced more flood than before. But we have seen that there's, increase in floods, especially back in April, even in July, we've seen more floods in that area as well.
I think it would be interesting. I cannot say that we've seen like a more devastating effect of floods since the Lagos Coastal Road, Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road started. I say this because this is not the first time in Lagos State that homes have been flooded. I recall, in the early, about 10 years ago, 9 years ago, something similar happened as well. Whenever we have continuous rainfall of this nature, before and now, post the construction of the coastal highway, we have seen homes and businesses affected. So I think it's a cheap shot we can investigate that, but it's a cheap shot because it is something that's happened even before the construction of the coastal highways. However, you hit a point whereby we talk about the drainage infrastructure, especially in Lagos State not being sufficient. I feel very bad because, I love my Lagos State. Yes. I always speak up for the state, Ibas and the likes. But there's also a moment of truth where we have to tell ourselves the truth and be honest so that we can chart a pathway forward. Now, the Governor of Lagos State came on board on the campaign of themes in terms of the plans he had for the state, highlighting some of the key challenges that the state had and how he hoped to address that. His priority areas, according to the themes agenda, was transportation and traffic management. We saw how horrendous transportation or traffic management was on the days that rain fell. Like Dr. Batty cited, a number of people, if you were stuck outside when the rain started, it was jeopardy for you. It was horrible. Families, children who went to school were returning with their school buses around 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and we still had to go to school the next day. It was a terrible situation. We look at making Lagos State a 21st century city, mega city. If we're looking at a 21st century mega city that cannot manage rainfall, we are not anywhere close to the 21st century mega city. I say this because this is the second term of the governor, and even as he begins to wrap up his term in office, he's done some really great work in Lagos State. But if we're looking at him based on the promises he made to Lagosians, then he has to really look at some of these areas and see the ways in which he can chart in a path forward. We also looked at the fact that, we looked at the environment. Health and environment was also a key part. So let's talk about the environment. A number of things. I agree with the commissioner who said that, people poor waste management. Absolutely. And this is something that he had talked about. In fact, the Lagos State governor introduced the ban on plastic. And now you have to pay for your plastic, which was a good move. And now when you complain about it, at least you understand the reason why that policy was made. But there's a lot more to be done. We look at the demolition of houses. He's heavily criticized for this. You can understand now why such decisions have to be made. If you do not agree with those, then don't complain when flood happens like this. However, there's still a taller task to ask, which is there's some prominent buildings in Victoria Island, in Lekki. If you're targeting the people in Bariga, in Maryland, why don't you look at people in Lekki and Victoria Island who have also built illegal structures on these drainage pathways? So I think that there's a holistic approach to this. But Lagos State cannot continue to claim to be the 21st century city and still have issues. Yes, there's climate change, but we can also mitigate the effects or minimize the effects of climate change.
Absolutely. Cars submerged, people lost their... those cars, I'm sure they don't have insurance. But now the Lagos Commissioner has urged for some cooperation between residents and the government. We need to ensure that we have a greater Lagos. Eko ni baje, as I always say to you, Ayo. Now to Delta State. With an update to the story we brought you last week about missing children in the Agbaro community of the Ughelli North local government area. On Wednesday, an unidentified woman was set ablaze after being accused of child theft. Eyewitnesses say the woman was caught attempting to kidnap a 7-year-old boy before being dragged into the streets by residents, as seen in this viral video. Viewer discretion is advised. This is so sad. The Delta State Police Command has confirmed the incident, decrying the incident that instead of bringing her to the station, the community decided to take laws into their hands. They also said that they have a suspect in custody. This incident comes just days after residents mounted protests over the spate of kidnappings in the area. Well, the video showed the moment. The alleged kidnapped victim was reunited with his mother. Parents in the area have reportedly been keeping their children indoors for the fear of kidnapping.
God, you are great. See the mama now, God. See testimony. See what God do like this, so people. Man, see you. Man, celebrate.
Joy at last for this woman and the young boy who was rescued yesterday. Dr. Abate, I'd like to come to you with the story. Now, as for the woman who was set ablaze, many have condemned the act, calling it barbaric and stating that, jungle justice should not be the way forward. Your thoughts on the story?
Well, first, we have to insist on the security of lives and properties and the dignity of the human person, the right to the life of everyone, whether that person is a child or as an adult. Those rights are sacrosanct under Chapter 4 of the Constitution. But what we see routinely is that, there's so much danger everywhere, and children are the most vulnerable. Whether they are recruited as agents by terrorists and bandits, or they are, abused in routine circumstances, or as is in the case in Agbaro, in Ughelli North local government area, they get kidnapped. We had the chairman of that Ughelli North local government, and he said, well, they have been making efforts, and investigation is ongoing. He's liaising with the security agencies, but the security agencies will seem not to be effective or efficient enough. 40 children between the ages of 4 and maybe 14, abducted in the very presence of security agencies in a state, in a community where you have government. I think that in itself is very embarrassing. However, as to the woman who was apprehended, holding another person's child inside a sack and holding a Bible in her right hand, I think that's most ironic about the kind of charlatanism that people attach to children, but that does to religion. But that does not in any way justify jungle justice, to set a human being ablaze in the country, that's a clear indication that that environment is fast becoming a jungle. And I think that the security authorities should take a look into this and apprehend those people who had a hand in the killing, extermination of that woman. She's innocent until proven guilty, and only a court of law can, within the laws of the land, take life. Absolutely. Not any individual, whatever may be the circumstances or the provocation.
Well said, Dr. Abati. Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I'll re-echo your thoughts. Jungle justice is unacceptable. That woman should have been investigated, or she could have even helped us understand the root cause of the situation, if actually the child was found in her home. Dr. Abati, Ayo, I'd like to come to you on the story really quickly. The police has, confirmed the incident. They said that they have a suspect right now. Hopefully, this whole saga will be unraveled.
Yeah, so earlier, just a few minutes ago, we had the chairman of the Ughelli North local government area come and talk about it. And I think part of what he said, or the manner in which he approached some of the dangers that people talk about and why people react or respond like this. When we talked about jungle justice in the past, we've often said that it is as a result of the failure or the lack of trust of the people in the justice system. And so they decide to take matters into their own hands when you feel that there's no action that's been taken. We cited the fact that for 4 months now, there have been complaints around abduction of children in this area. And that even the king of Agbaro community had called out the DPO and the area commander saying that they were not doing enough to tackle the menace. Now, because people feel like the justice system isn't working for them, when they see things like this, they now decide to take matters into their own hands, which is absolutely wrong. Like you said, that could have been an opportunity for us to investigate further. She could have been a suspect and given an informant to actually help to end the situation, rather than the brief exhilaration from apprehending a criminal, an alleged criminal who has not yet been tried, and then killing her immediately. But beyond that is that, can the government or the leaders be honest with us? What we want to do is that we want a solution to what is happening in the Agbaro community, not just to whitewash it and say everything is okay, just 2-3 people. It's that women have come out to protest to say that their children have been abducted. What is the police doing? What are the security agents doing about it? But I think it is absolutely horrible to see this kind of situation in 2025. But I think it's an indictment on the security agencies and the lack of trust of the security agencies to act after months of complaints by the people.
Fantastic.
Very sad.
Following up with the Delta State Police Command, they have been quite responsive, and hopefully this whole menace of child kidnapping in the Agbaro community will end. I'm happy for that woman who found her child. Yes. Well, now to
the thing is, fraud in Lagos. This is not the first time, not the second time, and it's not going to be the last time. It's still going to happen again. Yes, I agree and I understand that this is not just in Nigeria. It is happening across other countries. The management is what matters. How do they manage the situations in their country? How responsive are they? Do you understand? What compensation do those countries give to their citizens? Do you understand? That's what we are saying. That's where the effect of bad leadership comes in. Until today, this has been happening. I could remember the one that happens that time when anyways, let's leave that one. Many has been happening, especially we're talking about this flood now. Mostly in Lekki now, not even other mainland, other places. So now it is even advisable not to go to Lekki. Now you know what you want to go find for Lekki. Again, now you define where big men they live, big men with big wahala. Now it be this. Every year, this is not every year. If it does not affect your old building today, it will affect it next year. If it does not affect it next year, it will affect it the other year, except something is being done to prevent it now. It must happen, at least it should be minimized, so that when it happens, it will not be this disastrous. Now every year, businesses are lost, houses are gone, vehicles are lost, breakdowns. Do they have insurance? Who is going to come for their rescue? Nobody. You face a wahala by yourself. And this one now will result of demolition of houses, that they build houses on top of drainages. And this has been happening. A lot of houses has been demolished over the years, yet the problem continue. That means they have not done the proper things they need to do. Not just to collapse or not just to demolish building. What do you do after the demolitions? Those are the problem area we need to look at. Even if there is a global warning, climate change and the rest, what do you do? Now you know that there is warning, global change. What are you doing? You need to plan, prepare yourself for the rainy day. Not when it happens, you start looking for solution. That time is too late. Imagine student has to stay. Like I even listened to Daddy Freeze yesterday saying that at 10 or what time that his kids have not returned back from school. A lot of people like that. And the next day they has to go back to school again. So this government needs to look into this. Lagos State governor need to look into this. I know houses will be demolished. Yes, next year these houses will be demolished this year. Next year it will happen again. Then other houses will be demolished next year. Those places that have been demolished now this year, they will just do 1 or 2 things and say it is done because rainy season has gone, right? Then that place where they demolished this year, before next year they will sell the land again. That is a problem. They will resell that land again, or government will go and build their own structure there again. All those places that government have demolished illegal structure, go and check what is happening there. Some of those places, what is happening there? Something else has been built there. Those things built there, are they more important than people who build houses there before? They just want to use it. Sometimes they want to use opportunity to take over people's properties, land. That's why this problem will still continue to happen until today, despite the fact that the numbers of houses that have been demolished as a result of this this flood. That being said, Lagos State government, you need to act very fast because we can't continue talking about this year after year. So it's getting too much before you leave office. So, like that being said, now the issue of these people doing jungle justice, taking laws into their hands, this is also as a result of failed leadership, failed security agencies that we have in this country, that people will resort to self-help, jungle justice because they failed. The leadership has failed. The police has failed. If we have reported this, if these people reported this issue, wait for the police to take actions, at the end of the day, police will only arrest these people, so-called kidnapper. Police will only arrest the person, maybe leave the person in police station or charge the person to court. Before you know, they will release the person again. Nothing. The reasons of this person be kidnapped, no, they not even do anything about that. They not try to stop the crime rate to make sure nobody kidnap again. They only arrest that person thinking that the problem is solved. There, somebody will not press button on behind. Somebody will not press button to release that one because look at these people. They are poor people. Some of them, they are poor. And you look at the woman. So it's obviously working for somebody. Do you understand? This woman cannot just wake up to go and kidnap and take this child to where she is going to do something to make money with the child. He's obviously working for somebody. But now they decided to go by jungle justice. But now this woman is not going to provide evidence, not going to confess that they are hiding place, count the numbers of people that are involved in this, reveal secrets so that police can go after them or even the community can go after them. But they do jungle justice, burnt this woman alive, then the story ends there. So it's because we don't trust our security agencies. Again, this is a problem. When you lost trust in your government, there's no trust. Again, they have failed. They failed us. That's the reason why people decided to do this jungle justice. And they don't care because they don't have joy again. They don't care. They just want to do it before police come. Now they done their own. If our security agencies are working responsive, right, we trust them. When you arrest these people, yeah, you successfully caught the person, wait for the police to come, charge the person to court, let them explain, police will take it off from there. Yeah, but at the end of the day, police taking the matter off from there, this person will be released and reintegrate back to the society again. And these are the problem. Because somebody will not go and press button, tell the police, commanding the police to do what they asked him to do because money has been exchanged. These are the problem. Where corruption is the major problem we have in this country. Corruption is the reason why the rule of law is not working again. Corruption is the reason why none of these institutions are functioning again. It's the reason why we lose hope about these securities. Police, they are dead. They're doing their anyways. Just I don't know. We just need to do well. The problem is still lies on leadership. When we get the issue of leadership right, everything will start falling in place. Everything we start getting things right. The day we get leadership right, the day we start getting it right in this country, everything will start falling in place. Do you understand? So that's just the problem. That's just the problem. Anyways, I just hope that they're able to. So now it has happened. What are they going to do to make sure it does not happen again? That is the major thing. That is the concern. Now it's been rampant down in that region. Delta State, down that region, it's been rampant. Kidnap this here and there. What is police doing to make sure it does not happen again? We're not going to call you again that for this is jungle justice. This thing happen again. Go after these people before it happens again. Make sure you stop them. Stop them. These people, they are our enemies, right? Go after our enemy. Go after our enemies. Anyways, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'll be your guy now. Subscribe.